Welcome to Photoshop, and today we're going to take a look at this image and have a little fun. We are going to create a comic effect. So if there are any of you out there and you'd like to take some photography images and turn them into a comic strip because you can't draw quite as good as you can take photos, I'm going to show you a really quick and easy way to convert any image into a comic strip. So the first thing that we're going to do, and we're going to make this a whole lot easier on ourselves, is obviously when you're creating a comic strip, you're going to have more than one image. So you don't want to have to go through this whole process the whole time. So I'm going to have these images available for download. You can go follow along with me. And as well, I'm going to show you how to create an action so it is repeatable. The first thing we're going to do here is I'm just going to drag my actions palette over here. And we're going to go ahead and create a new action. We're out of button mode, and we're going to click this and hit new action. And we are going to call this comic effect. And I'm going to leave mine in default actions and turn it orange. And go ahead and hit record. Now I'm going to do things a little bit different than I normally would. Normally I would just hit Command J twice and create new layers. But this other way works a little bit better when creating actions. And since we're only going to have to do it once, it's not going to be that time consuming. So the first thing though we're going to do is make this 1500 pixels. So we're going to go up here to image, down to image size, and we're going to change this to 1500 pixels. Now your pixel size is going to determine how this works. If you were to do this at 3000 pixels or 5000 pixels, they're all going to turn out a little bit different. So we're just going to go with 1500 pixels. However, I'm going to show you how you can change this during the process. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK, and that's going to make that image 1500 pixels. And I'll just zoom in here a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on. So the first thing we're going to go up to here is to layer and drop down to new or duplicate layer, actually. Duplicate layer, and we're going to call this first one poster edges. We're going to go ahead. This is the file that we see here. It's corresponding. So we're going to hit OK. We can see that it's duplicated that. We're going to come up here again and go to new duplicate layer. And this one we're going to call halftone. We're going to hit OK. We're going to turn the halftone layer off. Go to the poster edges first. We're going to come up here to filter and go down to filter gallery. In filter gallery, we're going to make sure artistic is open and go down to poster edges. Now you can control this. This is where you have your options, how you want this to look. I have mine set at 232. However, by adjusting these, you can change the way that this poster edges is working. So if I want less intense edges, I can slide it to the left. Or if I want more intense edges, in this case, if I want less posterization or if I want more posterization, I can slide this around. So for this one, I'm going to leave mine at 2, 3, and 2. I think looks best for me. I'm going to go with that. You can pick whatever you want. And truthfully, you could always go back in and adjust this later. So we're going to go ahead and select OK. And bam, just like that, we've already got the first part of this done. Then we're going to come up here and select the halftone. And we're going to come up here to filter, pixelate, color, halftone. I have mine set at max radius of 4. You can go in here and try 5, 6, 3. See what works best for you. I'm going to just leave that. I'm going to leave all these at their default settings and hit OK. Then you're going to come up to your blending mode and go down from normal to soft light. And just like that, we've got the cartoon effect done. Now, I'm going to click on poster edges. If you do want to increase your saturation of your file, you can select your poster edges. You can come down here and make a vibrance adjustment, and you can increase your vibrance and you can increase your saturation. However you like, whatever makes you happy. If you don't want it, you don't have to add that as well. So we're going to be pretty good. So I'm going to zoom out now so you can see this. So now we've added a little saturation. We've got the effect going here. The last thing we're going to do is how to create a border. So I'm going to come up here to halftone. So the last thing that we're going to do is we are going to add and increase the canvas size to this image. Now, we're not going to need all these layers on a comic book strip ad. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten this image at this point. So I'm going to come down to layer, down the flatten image so we can keep some nice small files. And then we're going to come up here to image, canvas size. And we're going to change the first color to black. And we're going to change this to pixels. And we're going to make it 20 pixels wide. Now you can make this wider or thinner depending on what you want. And we're going to hit OK. And this is going to add that black border around the edge. Then we're going to come back up the canvas size again. And we're going to go to canvas size. We're going to switch the color to white. And I'm going to leave it at inches. I'm going to do 0.5. So it's a ½ inch by 0.5. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. And just like that, we've got our cartoon strip ready to go. So the next thing we're going to do is just drive our slider actions palette over here and hit stop. I'm going to come over here to this other image that I have. So right here in the actions, we can see we have the action in our new file. Now, this image here is vertical. It's not horizontal. So we want to make this dimension maybe 1500 pixels. In this case, you don't have to, but we're just kind of assuming that. One of the cool things about an action is we can come in here to where we did image size and select this little box. Anything that has a numerical import box or a box to put in a number, if you select that, it's automatically going to stop the action there so you can add a new number or change the numbers. So then we're going to come up here, we're going to go to button mode, and now we're going to run the comic effect button. And you're going to notice, bam, just like that, it stopped. But we're going to make this 1500 pixels instead of the width. And now we're going to finish running that action. It's going to run through that action. And then bam, just like that, we've got our comic effect done. So we've got our black border, our effect. Now, one thing that you might want to do when you do a comic effect and you have eyes like this, I like to kind of brighten this little eye thing here. So we'll just make a new layer so you can see this. I'm going to grab the marquee tool. And we're going to just zoom in here and we're going to make a little selection over the eye. That looks pretty good. I'm going to hit Shift Delete, or otherwise you can use the fill command. Shift Delete just brings up the fill command. We're going to use the color white, fill that with 100% opacity. And then we're going to duplicate that. So I'm just going to copy it in this case. So hit copy. And then V, which is paste. And then we're just going to take our move tool and then we'll slide this one over for this pupil. Get that in place and then we'll zoom back out. And then you can get kind of a more natural looking comic effect, and it really is going to accentuate those eyes. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.